Stay with us, guys. This gets serious. Right off the bat, the most detrimental, the most severe con with Equipoise is Equipoise causes cancer. Yeah, what's going on, guys? It's Spartan here, nutrition, training, and hormone expert and Prometheus Pro bodybuilder. Guys, today we're going to be talking about Equipoise, also known as EQ. Everything you need to know about this. We're going to go through all the pros, uncensored, no holds barred, and then we're going to go through the cons, uncensored, no holds barred. Guys, make sure you stick around to the cons because there's a couple very serious things to talk about when considering Equipoise. So, having said that, guys, let's get started. Equipoise, let's start with the pros. Anabolic to androgenic rating. The anabolic androgenic ratio for this particular anabolic steroid is 100 to 50. 100 anabolic, 50 androgenic. Right away at first glance, we notice that, regular testosterone being 100 to 100, 100 anabolic to 100 androgenic. This lines up perfectly with how anabolic testosterone is, exactly, and with the androgenic component being sliced in half. Namely, guys, Anavar is right about 40 in the latest studies we have. With Equipoise, being 50, it's hardly more than something like Anavar. So in terms of androgenic sides, this is extremely, extremely low. So, for pros, right off the top of the bat, again, anabolic androgenic ratio, extremely favorable, just as powerful as testosterone. Androgenic component cut in half. So, right away on paper, theoretical, looking amazing for building muscle. So, moving on, it is a testosterone derivative. Guys, remember, we have testosterone derivative steroids, we have DHT derivative steroids, and we have 19-nor, also known as nandrolone derivative steroids. Equipoise, also known as boldenone, is a testosterone derivative steroid, and being a testosterone derivative, this makes it very potent in terms of anabolic, and we see that 100% on paper. And I want to note, guys, if you're advanced or intermediate, either in the bodybuilding, fitness, or HRT, TRT realm, you already know. You already know that anabolic androgenic steroids do not always line up exactly with their scientific medical anabolic rating system and anabolic ratio. We know this with things like halotestin and many other drugs that the ratings are either way too high or way too low. I want to note right off the bat that with EQ, also known as Equipoise, boldenone, this anabolic to androgenic rating system hits the mark dead on. It is completely accurate and correct. Having said that, guys, moving on, low estrogen conversion. EQ, also known as Equipoise, exhibits very low estrogen conversion. When comparing to testosterone, base testosterone, again, we went through that a little bit, but comparing it, we're talking about a conversion about half of that of testosterone. That's extremely, extremely low. And that also makes it very, very favorable for use in terms of building lean muscle mass. Moving on, guys, Equipoise, huge red blood cell increase. Now, when I say huge, obviously this is based on perspective. This is, we have to have something to base it on because, if we base it on, take EPO, also known as erythropoietin, that's that famous doping used drug or compound that's being used among cyclists, Le Tour de France athletes, endurance athletes, swimming, other sports. When we compare Equipoise to something like erythropoietin, also known as EPO, it's not a huge red blood cell increase. It's much lower than that. So when I say huge, huge red blood cell increase, I am referring to compared to other anabolic androgenic steroids. So in terms of increases in red blood cell, increases in hemoglobin, guys, we're talking, more than testosterone, up on par with Anadrol, getting up there with Anadrol. So as you know, Anadrol is extremely, extremely potent at treating anemia. It was prescribed for that purpose. Equipoise, in the same way, stimulates the kidneys to release and create more red blood cells. So having said that, guys, again, more than other anabolic steroids, but nowhere near, I want to be very clear, nowhere near to the extent that something like EPO or erythropoietin would increase your red blood cell count. And if you know anything about EPO, people take so much of this stuff that they can actually turn their blood to more or less maple syrup. And that's going to cause things from strokes, heart attacks, and other extremely serious side effects. So, no matter where you live in the world, no matter what sport you're doing, I highly advise, guys, you stay away from EPO, even though it is not a steroid. It is far, far worse in terms of dangers. Guys, moving on. It is low androgenic. Equipoise, also known as boldenone, is extremely low in terms of androgenic sides. We went through that when talking about the anabolic component. Guys, we're talking, in terms of DHT conversion. There is none. It converts to the powerful metabolite via the 5-alpha reductase known as DHB, dihydroboldenone. A lot of people don't talk about that or know that. So it's going to convert to DHB, dihydroboldenone, instead of DHT, again, via the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. And dihydroboldenone has an anabolic androgenic rating of anabolic 200 and androgenic only 100. So again, converts to that powerful metabolite, and that's again why I believe we see in scientific literature this anabolic androgenic rating going so high. Having said that, guys, low androgenic, you're not gonna, we're talking about things like oily skin, estrogenic side effects even. We're talking about androgenic components such as, hair growth and everything that encapsulates androgenic sides, sweats, drive, aggression, whatever you want to put a secondary sex characteristics. It's probably the easiest way to describe androgenic component. But it's extremely low, and this makes it very, very favorable across the board for building lean muscle mass. Guys, having said that, again, like I promised you, I went through all the pros, unbiased, uncensored, gave it to you how it is. Now we're going to go through all the cons, uncensored. I'm going to tell you guys how it is. And guys, I want to note that, on this channel, I don't have an agenda I'm trying to push. I want to give you guys all the information. I want to give you all the pros, all the information, truthfully, and I want to give you all the cons, truthfully, and let you guys not only make your own decisions, and hopefully the right decision, as I would advise nobody ever to take Equipoise, like I'm going to get into now with the cons, but I want to put out all that information for you guys completely free of bias. So having said that, Equipoise, the cons, stay with us, guys. Let's get serious. Right off the bat, the most detrimental, the most severe con with Equipoise is Equipoise causes cancer. What? I've never heard this on any bodybuilding, fitness, athletic, HRT, TRT. I've never heard any guru, I've never heard any coach talk about that. What? What are you talking about? Again, guys, we talk about bad information, in regards to bodybuilding in the fitness world. Equipoise, and guys, I'm going to give you another secret right off the bat, or another thing people don't talk about. The reason Equipoise was never approved for human use, and you can look this up for yourself, is that Equipoise causes cancer. What do I mean? Equipoise is listed as a probable carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. You can look that up. IARC, International Agency for Research on Cancer. So one of the reasons Equipoise was never approved for human use is that they found out that Equipoise is a probable carcinogen. So, in terms of treating muscular diseases, disorders, or a host of conditions off the board for legitimate pharmaceutical medical use in humans, you think that companies want to deal with a drug that has a huge probable possible side effect such as cancer and all those lawsuits over the top of their head? And guys, that's one reason why Equipoise was never approved for human use. And again, you're not going to hear anybody talking about this. You're not going to hear anybody talking about the carcinogen. And you're not going to hear anybody talking about, again, how the IARC, International Agency on Research on Cancer, has labeled this. So anyways, guys, moving on. Got that out of the way. That's the big con. And if that's not enough to, steer you guys, hopefully steer you adults, whoever's watching this video, no matter what country you're in, you can walk into a lot of stores and buy Equipoise off the counter, depending on what country you're in. Having said that, if that's not enough to scare you guys off, let's talk about the high risk proven effects of Equipoise use, long-term use, and abuse. High risk, plaque buildup in the arteries, right here. And depending on the dosages, depending on the amount taken, length of time, plaque buildup in the arteries and coronary artery disease. Again, just like cigarettes, I talk about this too, but just like cigarettes, long-term use and abuse, just because it is, guys, an anabolic androgenic steroid, anytime, you go past a certain point, you're going to cause sped up plaque buildup in the arteries. And we see that, that's medically proven. Having said that, enlarged heart wall. And this is kind of a misleading medical term, guys. It should be, say, thickened heart wall instead of enlarged heart wall. That gives almost the wrong impression. I talk about this at length, but basically, in a normal human heart, whether you're natural or enhanced, you increase your cardiovascular output, cardiovascular training. What's going to happen is the heart chamber, the left ventricle in the heart is going to get bigger depending on the amount of exercise and get smaller, right? This is normal. Natural or enhanced doesn't matter. If you're a high school athlete and you're doing a lot of track or swimming, guess what? Your left ventricle is going to get bigger to be able to pump more blood out to the body to supply it with its nutrient and metabolic needs. Now, and when you're done with that training, it's going to go back to normal. No big deal, okay? It's like a balloon. Now this problem, the enlarged heart wall, or thickened heart wall, as I would say, it's more accurate. What's actually happening is instead of that chamber getting bigger and smaller, which again is no big deal, there's no, as far as the latest medical studies, and you probably already know this, but there's no increase in mortality from that. It's not a big deal. It's healthy. It's normal. Amazing adaptive response, that God gave us. Having said that, with anabolic steroid long-term use and abuse, again with Equipoise, you're going to have an enlarged heart wall or thickened heart wall, which means that actual heart wall itself is going to get thicker. Now this presents a myriad of problems, being that, just like with an engine, you keep going bigger and bigger, it becomes less efficient. It's the same exact problem with the heart, guys, is that if your actual heart wall thickens and thickens, that means that each beat is less effective at, forcing that blood out of the left ventricle chamber into the body. So, is your heart getting bigger and stronger? Well, yeah, but the problem is it's losing its capacity to fully push out the blood out of the chamber. A great example I'd like to give you guys would be, imagine you're doing a bicep curl, right? You're doing biceps. When you start out training biceps and you got small arms, you can bring your wrist almost all the way back to your forearm. You can bring your wrist all the way back. But when you have bigger arms, guess what happens? I can get a little bit past a 90 now. So your range of motion has significantly decreased. Yeah, it's gotten stronger, but it's decreased a lot. So it's the same sort of concept with the heart is, yeah, it's getting thicker, it's getting stronger, but it can't contract all the way, which means it cannot eject all of that blood out. And again, most of this goes away after a succession of or you get off of it after being on it for a long period of time, or after the abuse is over, that goes back to normal, but there's going to be some that remains. And again, we don't hear people talking about this for some reason. This is proven in medical studies. Equipoise, number 3, guys, heavy metals. Now, I talk about this with other drugs such as DECA, such as Anadrol, Anavar, or testosterone. If you're getting veterinary grade or you're getting black market, almost 100% of the time you're going to have heavy metals in there. Why? It's because it's not produced in a USP approved facility. They're coming in from other countries, and they do not do that final pass, that expensive final pass, depending on what processing machinery they're using, but they don't do that final pass, to remove heavy metals. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have heavy metal toxicity building up in your system, and they don't do this for veterinary grade drugs most of the time because they're animals. People don't really care. So, with Equipoise, it is only approved for veterinary use. I currently do not know one country in the world that has Equipoise approved for human use, just because, again, it is a probable carcinogen. So having said that, the issue you're going to have is that if you let's say you're in Mexico, you walk into the pet store, you walk out with a bottle of Equipoise, and you start using Equipoise, or you're in the Middle East or wherever else. There's tons of countries where Equipoise is completely legal. But let's say you use Equipoise, you're going to have even if you're using at a safe dosage, you're going to have heavy metal toxicity building up in your body. So you don't need nickel, you don't need arsenic, you don't need lead in your body. But again, it's a veterinary grade drug. You guys stay away from it. So those high risk, we went through the cancer, we went through the high risk. Last thing, guys, is going to be thick blood. Okay, that's my term because it's easier than saying, your red blood cell count is going to go through the roof. So basically, in the same way we talked about EPO over here, and again, another pro is obviously you're gonna have a huge increase in vascularity anytime you have a red blood cell increase. But again, it's gonna thicken your blood to a degree. Now, if you're giving blood, regularly, this isn't a big deal. If you're getting monitored through a doctor, it's not a big deal. But again, regardless of thicker blood, do you really want all these problems we talked about? Just not worth it. Having said that, guys, minor con would be shut down. But again, you're going to have that with even SARMs, which are legal, pretty much worldwide. But you're going to have that issue of shutdown. So that's regardless. But we're not talking about, I might get oily skin, I might get a little bit of hair loss. Guys, we're talking about the real stuff that matters. So, anyways, that's all the pros, uncensored, unbiased, and that's all the cons, uncensored, unbiased. Guys, this is Equipoise, bold and own. Stay safe, stay healthy, make the best choices you can. And again, guys, if you have any questions, talk to a notable doctor or endocrinologist, or get signed up, and talk to the doctors at Prometheus HRT if you have any questions on your current health or hormone replacement. Guys, that's pretty much it. Seth Spartan, and we are out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy.